Do you ever feel like you just want a little bit more peace in your life? Do you kind of wish like you had a button and if you pushed it, it would just, everything would be peaceful? Well, if so, this episode is for you. I hope it blesses you and encourages you on your search for peace. I love to take a step back and reflect, evaluate where I am, where I'm going, what's going good, what's not, what needs to change. I like to call this a peace pause, and I have found myself needing a peace pause many times in my life. I've often ignored it, honestly, and just continued on with the busyness that I needed to do around me. But this need will keep knocking, and sometimes it knocks louder or may come out in other ways in life. So the best idea is to always go ahead and take that pause when it first appears so that delaying it doesn't create additional issues. If your body is experiencing anxiety, unprocessed emotion, a sense of overwhelm, any of these could be an indicator that it's time to just be still and know that He is God. Some of these feelings, when not processed, can actually lead to physical problems or even just further mental anguish or even affect relationships. But once you recognize you need a peace pause, or as my friend CJ likes to call it, a sacred rest, the next step is to determine what will it look like? What's realistic for you? What can you do to create some time and space for peace in your life? What do you need to create peace? You obviously need a safe space. You may be one that prefers to have alone time for this. Maybe you're able to create it within your current environment and others around you, whichever works best for you. And peace looks different in different seasons. If you're working, you may actually have to take a day or two off for this, which takes lots of arrangements. But if you're a mom, maybe with lots of precious little people running around, then you may actually have to be pretty creative and orchestrate this pause and even involve maybe coordinating with your spouse or other helpers, grandparents, etc., just to carve out a little bit of time to take care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. It's going to be worth it, and you're going to come back better able to serve. These little spots can be short or long, and what you do, it's going to determine what it looks like for you, like how you're going to orchestrate it logistically. Are you going to do this at home? Do you need to go somewhere? Okay. Sometimes just simply the simplest little short peace pause, such as a drive, a walk, meeting a friend, Epsom salt bath, anything simple that gives you time and space for peace. Once you determine how long it's going to be, and if you are depending on others, you're coordinating with them, the peace pause, you may have one that has a certain stop and start time, or maybe it's an extended time. If you're in a season of life when you have more time freedom, you may actually have a peace pause and it starts and you just kind of leave it open until you feel a sense of peace has returned. And that's not something that we can always rush. But when you feel a peace of sense returning, internal safety, emotional safety, ability to resume your normal routines and rhythms, that's when you'll know you've done what you've needed to do. To give you an example, for a season now, I have been feeling the need for a peace pause. If you know me in real life, you know that I absolutely love serving my family and others around me. I actually get great joy from doing this, and thankfully now I come to this from a healthy place. Years ago, I really think I did it under the guise of people pleasing, if I'm honest about it, at times. But thankfully, God has graciously delivered me out of that and brought me to a place where I really serve others from a very clean place, just for the pure joy that it brings. Just knowing that I'm genuinely helping someone or multiple someones. If you are familiar with the Enneagram, I tend to be a 2. And if you've never studied this from a Christian perspective, I highly recommend you go back and listen to episode 47, which is my interview with Julie Greene. She does a beautiful job explaining the Enneagram with a Christian perspective. If indeed I am a 2, as it seems, then it is definitely part of how God made me to find enjoyment in serving others around me. You may identify and also love to help others, or maybe you're just in a very busy season with lots of things pulling at you. Either way, there comes a day when you need to hit pause and find some peace. I found myself needing this, as I said, recently. So, for me, what it looked like was setting aside a full day that I was not going to be needed to serve in any way. And I drove to one of my favorite locations, which is a beach. And I sat just reflecting, reading, and actually writing this very podcast. Because sometimes in our peace pause, we get clarity, we get answers, or we even get inspiration. So be open to that. And other times, you may just get the rest that your body and your mind needs. Either way, you are not wasting your waiting. You are finding peace, and peace always has a purpose. So I'm going to leave you with a few verses that I've been thinking on. Psalm 130, verse 5 says, I wait for the Lord, my soul waits, and in his word I hope. Isaiah 26:3 says, you keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. So let's be still and know that he is God. Until next time, this is my hope for you. May you find glimmers of hope everywhere. Be sure to follow and share this podcast. You can find me at stephaniejohns.com. You can use the show notes below for coaching and to join my email list, Hope and Wellness. Be sure to grab that mental health checklist and my favorite planner. All of this and more in the show notes below.